saw, I would say, March, April, was a reforecast of the total cost of the project exceeding the $85.4 million. So we had an issue to take care of. One was that we were running behind on the finance design, and two, we were forecasting that we would run over budget with the project. I also want to mention that early on, when the issue was taken to Ms. San Pedro, there were some soft reductions in scope of the project. And they're hard, but they're kind of soft. There were two modules specifically, the travel management module and project systems, that were eliminated from scope in an effort to try to compensate for the schedule overruns on the project early on.
Because the board really never approved taking out the finance piece. And our contract with Deloitte Touche, the scope of the work was reduced, but the dollar amount was not reduced.
Not at all, and nothing was made of that. And if we ever had, and what I said, if we ever have to do it again, if we ever wanted to put back the finance piece, we would have to pay more for it. So what kind of a deal is that?
The value of the contract was reduced, in my opinion.
Okay.
In my opinion, I'm sure there are people who disagree with my opinion on this, was not reduced sufficiently, comparable to the reduction in scope of work and ultimate deliverable back to the district. Again, I'm sure some individuals, I'm sorry. The payment was reduced, the total value of the contract was reduced, but my opinion is that not sufficiently to reflect the new scope of work and the ultimate deliverable that the district would get as a result of this reduction. And I think I said that in my opening comments.
Yes.
Again, it's a point of discomfort with me.
Right.
If we were to consider a 3-month delay, we feel that that could easily add an additional $7 million in consulting fees, plus our own contracted costs. So we are looking at somewhere at least a $7 million increase in cost for the project.
Now, Madam Chair, I'm going to go back to my opening statement. That is assuming that nothing changes.
Right.
And I think I was very clear that recognizing that there was an understatement of liability up front, recognizing the contract did not pose any risk on the side of the service provider. All the risks are on this side of the fence. Recognizing that there was an overstatement of return on investment, I think that is sufficient, in my mind, for us to reopen a negotiation. I do not envision, and this is a bold statement at this point, that before I go down the road of going to the board and asking for additional funding to complete the project, I'm going to avail myself of every single opportunity to renegotiate, number one, and to seek advice from counsel regarding our rights under the current contract. I think that is reasonable, considering what we have learned about this project through the KPMG report. I don't think anybody doubts the fact that the original projected cost of ownership and implementation was significantly understated, number one. Two, the scope of deliverable has been significantly reduced. Those two factors alone. And by the way, time delays and sanctions and penalties applied to this are significant. Those three factors alone are going to significantly reduce the potential originally stated ROI, which quite frankly I do not trust. We are in the process right now of trying to determine what that number is. And that's one of the key bodies of work that Deborah and her staff are in the middle of pursuing at this point.
There's so many issues here, it's almost overwhelming.
Yes, there are.
So my question right now would be, do we have some sort of very strong outside counsel that's going to work with the vendor and do what should have been done in the first place? Because I used to believe the contracts couldn't be broken, but there doesn't seem to be any contracts left on the planet that can't be broken. I think as a public relations thing for Deloitte, it's a disaster, and that should be something that they should take into consideration. But more than anything else, we need 6-shooter guns or an MK-47 in order to get back what we have, in order to get back what we should have gotten in the first place, which was our best interests protected by our attorneys.
I want to run the risk associated with that rather than paying what is due at this point without engaging in additional conversation. I think we're within our right, fiduciary right to do so, and quite frankly, a moral right to do so at this point.
I would like to ask Deloitte representatives if they have anything to add to this discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And if so, could you please...
Certainly. Again, I'm Mike Weeks. I'm the partner in charge of the Deloitte engagement. A lot of questions have been raised, and I guess to sum up our point of view, number one, we are here and we are committed to the success of the district and the project. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. We are welcoming and anxious, actually, to sit down with Mr. Carvalho and begin our discussions and seeing how we can move forward with this project. We believe that we continue to meet our contractual obligations and have met them in the past, and feel like we can demonstrate that and have demonstrated that. I'd be happy to take any questions directly. We would be happy, and have from the beginning, would be happy to meet with any board member individually. And lastly, I guess, one recommendation from KPMG that we heartily embraced was more transparency with the board and this group. And we look forward to that.